Alright, hey guys, we're back for more of the League of Legends Season 2 World Championships, and we're going to be taking a look at SK Gaming versus CLG.NA. Both of these teams need this win for their qualifying round, so there's going to be a lot of hard play here. I heard the game was awesome, but I haven't watched it. I don't know the result. I don't know anything about it, actually. But we're just coming right in the band stage. So let's get into it. Just real quick to introduce the games. Most people have heard of these teams. So definitely SK Gaming, at least, is in the top half of teams that have a good chance of winning this tournament. CLG.NA has had a couple issues in some past tournaments. They have not performed quite as well as they did like this time last year, for example, but they're still a very strong, very long-standing team, and they have some awesome new talent as well, or like relatively new talent. For example, a lot of people think that Doublelift is one of the best AD carries in the world, if not the best AD carry in the world. There's people who say he's better than Chaos, better than Araneae, better than, you know, whoever else you could name. I know more about the North American players. I have to give that as a disclaimer first, because I am on North American servers and I follow generally North American streams and so on and so forth. So I'll be able to give a little more insight into CLG's picks and bans and whatever than I will into SK's, but I've casted and watched several SK games in the past, so I have sort of figured it out. Anyways, on SK Gaming we have Kevin, Araneae, Ocelote, YellOwStar, and Knife, and on CLG, forgive me if I mispronounce any of those, on CLG we have Voyboy, HotshotGG, bigfatlp, Doublelift, and Chauster. And coming in for the bans, we see a Sivir, Olaf, and Sona ban. Now, those are actually some very interesting bans, as well as a Gangplank ban by CLG.NA. Now, I have seen SK use Gangplank very effectively in some previous games, so this may be a targeted ban against them. But I'm very interested to see Sivir, Olaf, and Sona be banned. Of those, only Sona seems like a high-pick hero, and even then she's been eclipsed recently by supports like YellOwStar, who we see CLG.NA banning out, and Blitzcrank, as well as Soraka and Taric. We haven't seen a ton of Sona recently, so I'm interested to see that she gets banned out. Just gonna
really heavy target bans coming.
Once again mute the stream, and they are talking about very heavy targeted bans, so I agree with that. And we see an Araneae ban going out against SK. So obviously they don't want to face Araneae. A lot of the European teams really like that Araneae in the top lane, so it makes a lot of sense that they're banning him out. And an instant lock Shen from Kevin here. Obviously Shen is one of the strongest heroes in the current version, as indeed he has been in like every version for a long time. Brutally difficult hero to deal with in the mid game, very strong in lane, and scales quite well into the late game as he becomes very tanky. So a very safe pick, doesn't really give away your strategy, and will allow you to have global map presence throughout the whole game. In order to pick against Shen, you really want to try to shut him down in lane so he becomes a non-factor, or like push him into the turret really fast. So I like this CHO'GATH pick if they're putting him top. CHO'GATH can sustain against Shen's harass and harass him out of the lane. We're also seeing a Lulu pickup, which is probably going to be support, but doesn't have to be. Lulu, sort of an underrated support in my opinion, does very high damage, has incredible utility with that ultimate, especially if you put it on a hero like a Malphite that ults in, or something along those lines. We're seeing a Nunu and Ezreal pickup. Ezreal getting a lot of play this version, obviously. Just a very powerful hero, very versatile, has a flash on a 10-second cooldown, so and I personally pick Graves against Ezreal, so I like seeing Doublelift slamming that Graves against Ezreal. I think that Graves is very well set up against him, also has a flash on a 10-second cooldown, and does more damage in terms of burst damage. Lulu is an interesting support to pair with Graves. Usually you see a Taric or a Leona or an Alistar. But Lulu will not be bad if that's the route they end up going. As I said, they could still put Lulu top or mid. And I've even seen jungle Lulu, so very versatile pickups. I also really like this Orianna ult to go along with Lulu ult and Cho'Gath Rupture, so you can like Orianna ult people into a Rupture, Orianna ult people into a Lulu ult. I really think something like a Malphite or an Amumu that can chain those CCs with AoE ult is going to be the pickup from CLG.NA here. Just something that can do that kind of work. I really like seeing a Jayce pickup, and Lux has been seeing some interesting bans and picks recently. I have not seen much Lux before, but in this tournament she's getting a lot of love, which I personally am very happy to see, because Lux is one of my favorite heroes, conceptually and in terms of play, and I would love to see more Lux. And we're seeing a Diana pickup, which actually, even though it's not the same as and the Diana will definitely go top lane with Orianna mid and Cho'Gath in the jungle. And I'm just gonna pause this and get back to the pick screens, because I don't really care about watching the announcers' faces. Diana doesn't seem like a Malphite or a Mumu type pickup like I was predicting, but actually, because of her dash and her Q, can perform the same role, dashing into the middle of the team, getting Lulu ulted, knocking everyone up, chaining into Orianna, or chaining from Orianna ult into Ruptures, into Lulu knockups, and keeping whole teams CC'd for a long time. This Jayce pickup is good, although it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to lane it. I expect that we'll see Jayce mid, trying to just shut down Orianna, but it could be Shen mid as well. Just going to skip past the bits before the game actually starts, and we'll get to around 18 minutes or so, I believe, is when the game starts. And jump right in as the heroes are going out. So, to introduce the teams, we have Kevin playing that Jayce, we have Araneae playing Shen in the jungle, Ocelote playing the Lux, who will probably be the mid laner, YellOwStar playing that Ezreal, and Knife playing Nunu on support. We have Chauster playing Lulu with Promote, which I love to see. Doublelift on Graves with Teleport, bigfatlp on Orianna, also with Teleport, HotshotGG on that Cho'Gath with a Smite in the jungle, and Voyboy on Diana with a Teleport. So they're going for mass teleports to counter the global presence from Shen, which I think that's a very strong idea, and they're also going with a lot of push from that Promote minion. No vision up here, but Diana is far enough back under the turret that she's going to be immune to this gank. I don't think that SK are going to be able to get kills, but they will easily be able to steal red buff here if that's what they're going for. I like the speed buff that they're placing to go into the next brush. It can sort of help take a team by surprise and catch people out, but CLG are just playing very defensively positioned and are just going to give up their Wraiths. They definitely know SK is there. They're heading to SK's Wraiths, placing wards at the usual approaches, and they're going to back off into the jungle and steal the big Wraith. I love this Wraith steal spot, which is something that I want to adapt for my own play as well. You can get that completely for free, and still run down and disrupt the other team's double golems if they're trying to do that, which it looks like Lulu and Graves are heading down to do, and the announcers are going to switch over here. Looks like they're trying to get YellOwStar this red buff, but Doublelift and Chauster are right there and are going to be able to steal the red buff, put a lot of damage on YellOwStar, forcing a flash, put a lot of damage on Knife as well, kill the little lizard, so they stole the red buff, which is going to put them so far ahead in bottom lane. That was really well played. GG already having some mana issues mid lane. That's one of the problems with Orianna early game, is you really want to spam that ball around, but you just don't have the mana to support it because it's so expensive now. But getting the level advantage from that level up has let him put a lot of damage on Ocelote's Lux. Jayce versus Diana is an interesting lane matchup. Both of those heroes can do a lot of damage if they get in close, so And Diana does not have an aggressive summoner, so she's going to have to play this lane fairly defensively, especially because they gave Jayce an early blue buff. This is one thing that's been very popular in this tournament, is giving the lanes buffs instead of the junglers, and having the junglers play a much more supporting role, picking junglers like Shen or Lee Sin that don't need buffs at all, and you can just hand off the buffs. As we saw in the last game I cast between IG and Zubu Frost, IG actually gave their 2v1 solo Jarvan a blue buff to enable him to farm. Here they're just giving the solo top a blue buff, which is going to let him get way ahead of Diana early game. And as you can see, he's already doubling Diana's CS. The junglers are in an interesting position because Hotshot did get these buffs, which means he's going to jungle much faster than Shen and be able to gank earlier probably. As well, Shen sort of tried to go mid, had to go to those wraiths and deal with the big wraith having been stolen, has lost his red buff, doesn't have a whole lot of jungle to work with, whereas Hotshot's going to be able to sort of put some damage on Kevin up here and get him a little bit get Voyboy a little bit of an advantage in the top lane. Unfortunately, he placed his Rupture very early. I feel like he did not need to Rupture there. Doublelift going really deep on YellOwStar. Going to die here. I don't know why he went in that far. Transfers the red buff, loses it. Chauster missing the slow, flashes after YellOwStar. Araneae coming in and securing the kill, but he does manage to knock down YellOwStar before going down, but still a double kill, getting Shen some XP that he needs, and also going to get him some farm in this lane, because presumably he'll take it over Nunu as they push the lane in and cost Graves and Lulu a lot of CS. And there's one thing about Graves that is very difficult, which is that actually he has teleport, so it's okay. I forgot about that. But Graves, especially if your backup is a Lulu, is going to need a lot of support in order to going to need an early advantage in order to scale well into the late game, because Graves is not a late game AD carry. Ezreal will definitely out-carry him, assuming they just trade farm evenly. He needs to gain an advantage. So giving YellOwStar 2 kills is exactly what they don't want to have happen. But with that early red buff, he's already nearly triple YellOwStar CS. So things could definitely be going worse for them in bottom lane. Even with those 2 deaths, CLG has a 2-level advantage on Doublelift, as well as a more than twice his CS, like 2.5 times his CS. So even with that double kill on Ezreal, which does go some way to getting him back into the game, Doublelift has a gold and huge level advantage, and is going to be able to put pressure on Ezreal throughout this laning phase. Lux versus Orianna is going very evenly. You notice that Orianna just based and picked up a Chalice, probably looking to teleport in somewhere. Bottom lane, unfortunately, is too pushed up. They do not have a ward in the far brush. So when you're running these mass teleport strats, you should really get a ward here, where SK's ward is, and so that when SK pushes out, you can have your mid or top lane teleport in behind them. This is something I struggle with telling people in solo queue a lot when I play a top lane champion that runs teleport, is you need those wards in the bottom brush so that you can get those teleport ganks in from behind them. Now, it may be that they're just planning not to use their teleport for laning advantages, and instead save it for the mid game. Doublelift and Knife Knife and YellOwStar going very aggressively, which is a big mistake given how many levels Doublelift has on them. Knife's going to run out of mana very quickly, and they're trading damage quite negatively here. Lulu didn't even use any spells in that engagement, and Graves was able to basically bring YellOwStar and Knife down to half with just right clicks and a buckshot. Ocelote just spamming spells out to clear the wave, push out. He's definitely looking to base. Both mid lanes have a Chalice, so this is just going to be a serious farming lane. Voyboy having teleported to the ward, misses his Q, but gets the pullback. Knife is going to escape fairly easily, though, because he missed the Q. Had that Q hit, of course, that would have been an easy kill for CLG, but as it is, a teleport down from Voyboy is going to put him in a serious disadvantage. Hotshot is covering top lane and pushing that out while Jayce is based, so he pushed Jayce out of lane and then teleported, which is obviously exactly what you want to do with teleport. GG just using the relatively high level of mana sustain that he has from his Chalice to harass Lux, but giving up some CS for it, so I don't know, it's 60 to 55. They're going to go give him a blue buff as well, or possibly put that on Voyboy. Actually, I think they should put that on Voyboy to send him back top lane, but instead they just give it to Ocelote, or give it to GG, just letting him farm up completely. Lux is also going to have a blue buff, so once again, both these heroes mid lane are just going to be trading free spells all game. In terms of the state of the game, there was that double kill bottom lane, but I actually feel bottom lane is still slightly in CLG's favor. Top lane is going to be definitely in Kevin's favor because Voyboy was absent for so long and doesn't have an offensive summoner to compete in terms of raw damage output. But these constant ganks from Hotshot are sort of making it a little easier. I don't know though. They just don't have enough damage to hurt Kevin particularly. GG waiting, pushing Lux out of lane, taking the big Wraith. I like that, obviously. You want to be snatching your opponent's big Wraiths, as well as clearing your own Wraith camp very frequently mid lane. That'll give you an advantage. And considering that he's slightly down in CS, and is also down a gold per 5 item pickup on Lux, he's going to need those every advantage he can get. Mobility Boots finished on CHO'GATH because he got a lot of early farm and was top lane for a long time as well, and is now sitting at 50 CS, which you can compare to Shen's 31. So the jungler advantage is definitely in CLG's favor, but Shen also has a gold per 5 item ticking up. And one thing that I'd like to note here is that there are 3 gold per 5 items ticking away for SK and none for CLG currently. So the gold advantage, which SK already has a slight gold advantage, is just going to keep growing unless CLG either use the strength advantage they have from SK's gold items to trade kills or pick up a bunch of gold items of their own very quickly. If they decide to just forego gold items, they really need to close out this game fast before those gold item advantages start to tick up too far. Hotshot has pretty good jungle control, is able to clear his own waves very quickly. A lot of harassment trades going down bottom lane, but CLG's bot lane is just so much stronger than SK's bot lane that they're able to push them out a lot. However, YellOwStar has not fallen any further behind in CS than he was, hasn't gained any of his CS advantage back, but not falling further behind is a triumph in and of itself, and he still has those 2 kills. That laser coming in from Lux almost picks off Chauster, but with the reduced damage from that Ezreal ult passing through all of the minions, it wasn't enough even with both ults. Does give YellOwStar some breathing room to catch up a little bit in CS, and as I was talking about when I cast IG versus Frost, which you should check out if you haven't because that game is amazing, if you leave one of these heroes alone for even a second, then they're going to pick up like 30 or 40 CS and be right back in the game because these heroes are all flash farmers and able to farm these waves very quickly, and they won't miss creeps, of course, alone in a lane. As you can see there, Lux just flash farming that wave, pushing them out as Orianna goes to base. Lots of farm trade mid lane. We're going to see very strong mid lane heroes this game, as they are well over the 80 CS at 10-minute mark and are passing to their 100 CS at 12-minute mark. That is the sort of gold standard for a good farm. Just dashing out of that Nunu ult by Doublelift, very good play, waited till the last second. Nunu actually triggered that slightly early in an attempt to mind game him, but Doublelift dashed out even just slightly earlier than that and out mind gamed him. 2 oracles, one for each, or no, oracles for each jungler here. And Shen sitting with just oracles and a gold per 5 item. CHO'GATH has almost finished his gold per 5 item as well as having that oracles. I expect that ruby crystal is going to go into a heart of gold, although not 100% certain of that. Phage, 2 Dorans finished on Ezreal, so he's got his core laning items, but has not finished his any real items yet. Probably not going to go for Triforce would be my guess here, or at least I wouldn't suggest it, because when you're this behind you don't want it. Araneae taking a lot of damage and in danger of a feast there, but Oh no, the feast was already cast. Okay. I was gonna say he was almost gonna die to that feast, but the feast was what got him so low in the first place. Actually, really good trades coming out here for SK's bottom lane. They were able to push Doublelift back quite a bit. Hotshot coming in and dewarding, and wandering away. Now coming back in, looking for a gank. It looks like SK's bottom lane is going to go on this. CLG, knowing that they know they're basing here, baiting for Hotshot, but Hotshot has turned around. I don't know why he would have turned around there, but a teleport coming in from Voyboy, Hotshot running in is going to pick them up, an easy double kill. Shen ult coming in, should be able to see an ult from Diana. Jayce coming in, and another teleport from GG with the global presence here, flashing after the Nunu, going to get the last auto attack for the double kill on Hotshot. A Lux ultimate coming in, putting a ton of damage on Voyboy, and Araneae almost going down there. Probably will to that dash from Doublelift, yeah, who came back in, taking a lot of damage from Lux though, and goes down to the Ignite. I actually feel that Doublelift stuck in too long and could have gotten out there had he not tried to put more damage on Kevin, with no hope of killing him with all of his spells down. So, overall that fight went CLG's favor, of course, but a slight mismanagement by Doublelift there, picked up an extra kill. But a double kill on Orianna is going to put her in a really good position, finish Sork Shoes, finish that Fiendish Codex for the Holy Grail, the Unholy Grail, and sitting at 201. Lux just stacking a ton of AP. One thing that's interesting that I don't see a lot of high-level Luxes doing is getting a Soul Stealer, which I actually feel is a really good pickup on Lux, because you've placed so far back. Some of you may have seen my support Lux videos where I go triple gold items into a Soul Stealer, and you so rarely die on Lux because you can play so far back, you never have to be in range of enemy skills, that you actually end up stacking up things a lot. We have an instant replay here, which I'm actually going to let play. Just going to pause this really quick here as we walk into the setup for this fight. We have Doublelift taking a lot of damage and having to back up to here, and Chauster running in. Doublelift, I believe, actually bases and teleports back in the middle of this fight. Hotshot and Voyboy coming in on YellOwStar, who's getting a Shen ultimate. The heal coming in just in time to save him, as you see those plus 300s going down as Voyboy's burst goes off. He's YellOwStar forced to back out, but the immediate ball plus QW combo from GG as he comes in picks up a kill. This would actually be a really good time for GG to ult. It would kill Knife instantly and pull Kevin back in for additional damage here. His ultimate may be down though. I wasn't able to see this before the fight. Certainly down if he hasn't cast it yet. The flash in after Nunu there is able to pick him off, and then here is where CLG goes a little too deep, I think. Voyboy getting pinned by that binding, flashes backwards. Kevin and Ocelot both getting caught by the rupture, which was placed down instantly by Hotshot. Very good reflexes there as soon as Voyboy was bound. Voyboy getting a shield from GG, which kept him alive through all of that. Doublelift, who teleported back in, is putting a bunch of damage out here on Araneae, and is going to put that final kill out and then step slightly too far in, and of course the instant replay doesn't cover quite the mistake that I wanted to talk about, but you all saw it the first time, so we'll just run back into this game here. Another 5-man presence spot from CLG, positioning for this dragon fight. All of their teleports are down, so they just walked in here. A completely missed Lux laser, and that's going to hurt SK a lot in this fight. And a pull back in from Voyboy, chained into that Orianna CC, chained into that Lulu CC, and that's exactly what I was talking about in champion selection, is that when Diana dives in, you can chain all of that CC with the Orianna ball and the Lulu ultimate, and you get this amazing triple knockup effect. Voyboy actually basing, going to go cover top lane, assuming that SK doesn't contest this, which they're going to try for. It looks like Araneae wants the steal, but a good smoke screen from Doublelift makes him unable to get the steal here. Smokescreen is one of the most deceptively powerful skills in the game. It doesn't look like it does a lot, but blinding someone like that is just so devastating. It makes it nearly impossible to play when you're inside a smokescreen. A lot of times people will underestimate the effectiveness of that skill. Doublelift with that cute missed buckshot there, but I'm sure none of us have ever done that, so let's make fun of him a lot for it. One thing that's interesting in these very high level matches is how many mechanical errors there are. The teams do not play mechanically perfectly. It's not partly because League of Legends is not a tremendously well developed game, but also partly because mechanical perfection is not what makes you an excellent high level player here. Obviously it helps, but missing the occasional skill shot, missing some CS is not the worst thing for your chances as a high-level team, because what really matters is your positioning, your map awareness, your team fight decision making. And we'll see that all of these players are excellent at that in the late game. Doublelift getting one shot off of that ward there, but not having an auto attack reset on either Lulu or Graves. They can't take out the ward. Hotshot dewarding some more, wandering down, probably going to try to deward that ward. Presumably it was called out by Doublelift, or should have been. Instead, I think they're going to go for a push on the turret, while GG just defends mid. Kevin top. Hotshot took out the turret, and I think a rupture could have been placed down there, but doesn't quite hit. Voyboy getting intercepted by Kevin. As I said earlier, Jayce is much stronger than Diana in direct confrontation, especially because he has that ignite. Doublelift is looking for a steal on the big golem, but Knife is going to go for the consume. Does get the consume. I like seeing that the fun interplay that happens when both teams are going for the same neutral camps. Hotshot has cleared all the wards around bottom lane, so that Oracle's really paying for itself. Also sitting up at 82 CS. Shen actually having caught up a significant margin in CS, sitting at 76. Ezreal catching up slightly to Graves there because of all the fighting that's happened, but Graves has finished two more important items than Ezreal has, with the Zeal and the Bloodthirster compared to Ezreal's Phage, Sheen, and Dagger. Unholy Grail finished for Orianna, who's sitting at 2-0-3. CHO'GATH, as I predicted, bought that Heart of Gold and is now building into an Aegis, and Shen building Merc Treads instead of those mobility boots. Has not had the same amount of map presence that CHO'GATH has, despite being a Shen, and is also going to be building into an Aegis, presumably. Lux, pretty close to death cap, I would imagine. Has finished off Sork Shoes, has that Cage's pick ticking away. And almost at a Shirelia's if he wants to go right into that for Nunu. Just 2 gold per 5 items sitting on Lulu, but I suspect she has a bunch of gold that hasn't been spent yet, having not had a chance to base recently. I'd love to see that promote come in more frequently, because that would be sweet. Obviously, they've pushed some lanes and stuff, but they haven't done the sort of mass push strats that I was expecting from this triple teleport lineup. It's been many more reactive teleports, and that's because SK have been playing very aggressively and forcing these reactive teleports, which is what you have to do against a team that has a lot of teleports. Voyboy clearing waves with his Q. Has an interesting item choice coming in. Got the Cage's pick. Decided not to build straight into the DFG, and it looks like he's going for a Zhonya's Hourglass, which is going to help with his role as initiator for the team. Just going to jump in, get his W off, get the Lulu ultimate off, get the Orianna ultimate off with the ball that he's been carrying, and then Zhonya's Hourglass away all the incoming damage. Going to be a very effective teamfight plan, I expect. If they don't catch Nunu, though, Nunu's ultimate can counteract that, and Shen's shield and Lux's shield also make it very difficult for them to burst things down. So, while I feel CLG has a teamfight advantage with a really cool teamfight lineup, which I love seeing, I am not 100% sure that that SK can't just weather the storm with all their shields and then turn it around with the sustained DPS and from Jayce and Lux. Another thing to note is, of course, that there are no exhausts on either side, which is going to make things really interesting. I'm actually surprised that SK have taken that heal over, have taken Ignite on Nunu over an exhaust. Obviously, they wanted to play that lane very aggressively, but it was against a Lulu Graves, and I just don't think they were going to get kills there on Nunu. And it's not like there's a bunch of heals, like it's not a Soraka or something or a Mundo that you really need to ignite. So having that, not having exhaust for Graves or Orianna or Diana, depending on who is the most useful target to place that on, I think is going to hurt them a lot late game. And of course, CLG have given up teamfight and combat summoners for the global presence of those teleports, which is a totally valid strategy. Now what I'd really like to see is a surge on CHO'GATH. Oh, an attempted Empire coming in there from that Nunu, but they didn't have vision, but Orianna Ball gave them vision, and so they just canceled out that Nunu ultimate basically for free. Forced Nunu to flash out, actually, so they got Nunu's flash ultimate and Ignite all in that one engagement for free, and are now going to push in on that. Voyboy getting a Q onto Ocelot. That's a pretty big deal, that Q onto Ocelot, because it's going to let him jump to him twice. Ball placed out as a zoning tool by Orianna. Hotshot sort of roaming around looking for some damage here. Has finished an Aegis, and so is very tanky, especially in comparison to Shen, who I suspect has not finished the Aegis. Yes, he has not. Zhonya's Hourglass now finished on Diana, and Phantom Dancer finished on Graves. So he's going to be doing, with that Bloodthirster Phantom Dancer, he's going to be doing about twice as much damage as Ezreal, although Triforce gives you more utility. It is not the highest damage item, which is one reason I really dislike that build when you're behind. So many people just go Triforce on Ezreal and Corki blindly, I feel, even when it's not the right build. Sometimes it's right just to build them as AD carries. In fact, probably more often than not, it's right just to build them as AD carries, because that's what they are. Rupture not catching anyone, and Grave Smoke Screen just protecting the turret here. Turret will probably go down. Orianna is top clearing, but does have teleport to get into the fight very quickly, of course. You can't count out CLG's picks here because of the teleports, which are going to let them be all over the map. Knife ward clearing the dragon, while SK just pressures the turret and knocks it down. So up 2 turrets for SK, giving them some global gold, but of course CLG has a dragon and 3 kills on them, so is up a gold advantage, as well as a fairly significant CS lead across the board. Like everyone except for the Jayce Diana pair is ahead in CS for CLG. Dragon having everyone being in position for Dragon, they're able to take it out. Nuke coming in from Diana, just ahead of SK's Smite, is able to clear that out without a steal from Araneae. If someone knows how Araneae or however is supposed to be pronounced, I would love it if you posted that in the comments, because that would be perfect. A phonetic pronunciation guide for those of us who have never heard it out loud. Double Triforce. Really big fans of this item this tournament. All the teams seem to have been getting a lot of Triforces. We'll see if there's another triple Aegis this game, although I think that's highly unlikely. And Australia is now finished on Lulu and not yet finished on Nunu, who has actually had his items not change at all recently. Had to pick up an Oracles after Shen died, and is now very gold poor. We'll probably finish that Shurelius very soon, but with 2 major team items finished, if I were in CLG's shoes, I'd be looking to start a fight right now. All of their ultimates are up. They can force a fight using teleports by engaging, baiting SK into an engagement and then teleporting in behind them, and they just have a bunch of team items up. Now, the Aegis has just completed there on Araneae, so that's no longer true, but they had a brief window where they had a Shurelius to initiate, they had an Aegis to make them all much stronger, and the effect of an Aegis on a team, especially against a team that doesn't have an Aegis, just can't be underestimated, can't be overstated. It's such a swingy item. It gives you incredible damage resist and an enormous amount of bonus damage for your whole team. Death Cap almost finished on Orianna. Death Cap completely finished on Lux. So Lux now able to wave clear with complete impunity. Lux is also a very level dependent champion and is going to be looking to pick up that 16 very soon. When Lux hits 16, her entire mode of gameplay changes because she's able to throw out that laser every 24 seconds, which becomes just incredibly difficult to deal with. Hotshot flashing the laser there, but getting an Orianna shield into Orianna ultimate, but with Graves not there, CLG do not want to follow up. I actually feel they could have taken that engagement had they gotten a little bit more damage from Orianna. Doublelift's just going to be taking bottom turret though, so they're going to give up Hotshot and his mobility boots for bottom turret as Voyboy and Doublelift transition down here and take it. I really like this mobile style from CLG. I think that this is a very cute way of playing this game. They are going to take this turret. They're actually putting themselves in a fair amount of danger because they didn't take it very quickly. So Nunu's going to get in and maybe get a slow. But no, it looks like SK are just letting them get away. Chauster flashes away from YellOwStar, who has to blink away from... was that a blink? No, that was a flash. Who has to flash away from GG. Lulu basing over in the corner there. Ocelot guessing the wrong side, but actually came closer than you might think just from looking at the distance to killing Lulu. Lulu chosen the other corner of the lane to base in. That laser would have killed her for sure. So almost free kill coming in from Ocelot with pretty good laser predictive skills. Just got 50% chance and didn't quite manage it. Those laser snipes are always the best. Jayce just placing a gate to run out, Voyboy using his shield, and Doublelift using a shield from Orianna to tank the turret and put a bunch of damage on it, but they're backing out as SK gets into position. Nuking down the waves, and then they'll just have Doublelift finish poking down this turret. I really feel like CLG is under-committing to taking these turrets, though, which twice has placed them in dangerous positions. Right there you saw they took a bunch of, in my opinion, unnecessary damage. They could have taken the turret like a couple seconds earlier had they just gone for it and killed it, and that would have prevented them from taking all that Lux burst as they clustered up and SK got into position to defend it, as well as bottom turret when I feel that SK could have killed them had Nunu run the aggressive path after them and gotten a slow on somebody. Doublelift has now finished his Quicksilver Sash, whereas YellOwStar has finished a Bloodthirster. Probably doesn't have full stacks yet, or anywhere near full stacks, and is going to be looking to get those before the next fight. If CLG sees his items, they should be looking to pick a fight or gank him to stop him from getting stacks here. The Bloodthirster will of course help with the damage problems that Triforce comes with. Jayce sitting at 50 CS, well 44 CS up on Diana, has finished one major item and is looking to finish a second. That Chain Vest will probably go into if I had to guess, I would say a Randuin's, although it might be a Frozen Heart. They should definitely get a Randuin's, I think, because it will help. It's actually deceptively good against Diana, even though she's all magic damage, because you can slow her and prevent her from chasing, and one of the things Diana really wants to do is stick to people. That Lux laser plus Ezreal ult almost steals the dragon, but of course it's very hard to steal dragon against a Cho'Gath who can just feast it, as indeed he does. GG going to be taking the blue buff, has now finished Death Cap, and Unholy Grail has a Blasting Wand, which is going to go into presumably a Void Staff, although it might be a DFG, might be a Rylai's, hard to tell at this point. Could be an Abyssal as well. Cho'Gath with both a Negatron Cloak and a Null Magic Mantle, which is an interesting combination of items. Just wanted the magic resist, I guess. Kevin up there with a QE combo, able to snipe that red buff. Pretty sick plays by Kevin there. Who has played this whole game pretty flawlessly. Aggressive against Diana, really shut her down. We have not gotten much focus on Jayce or top lane from the official commentators who are controlling the camera, but I think that Kevin has played this game really well. Nunu ultimate just to bring down the Baron faster. I'm not sure about that. I feel like they could have done without that, but it does get them a free Baron snipe, as CLG is out of position, has no wards to teleport to. The closest one was in the mid lane or above it. I still feel they could have made the attempt, but Hotshot was back at base, so it would have been hard for them to get into position. SK looking to take this Baron that they sniped and push a turret with it. Just poking with Lux, but of course Orianna poke is pretty much as good as Lux poke, maybe slightly worse, but the real problem for them is the Doublelift is just pushing bottom lane this whole time, and if they send anyone to deal with it, all of their pushing is going to come undone. And of course he has teleport, which means that he can stay in here for a very long time pushing this turret. As soon as they lose tabs on SK's team, he's just going to be able to teleport out. And actually, SK have given up this turret, which that can't be a wise decision by them. Obviously, it wasn't just an oversight, but they decided to try to bait a fight here. If they get this team fight, it'll be worth it. But as it is, they pick off just Lulu, and definitely going to pick off Ori, who's running down to protect her team, but are going to lose an inhibitor for it, as Doublelift sticks around just knocking down the inhib. So they're going to need to get an inhibitor turret at the very least in order to make up for that. Doublelift can just stand there 1v1ing Araneae, who can't possibly take him on in combat. But the question is, can Voyboy and Hotshot hold this alone? And the answer, I'm certain, is no. So they're just going to trade inhibitors here, while Doublelift puts a bunch of damage on the Nexus turrets, flashing that Shen taunt and actually just taking the Nexus turret here. SK going for a base race against Doublelift, sending Araneae to defend, but Chauster is back up. The Lux laser misses everybody, and Hotshot is able to push them out, while Doublelift continues to harass Araneae at the double turrets. Has knocked down one double turret, and teleport coming in from Voyboy. They're going for the second double turret. I really like this teleport. They should have a second one coming in. Yes, momentarily. GG, as soon as he had health, came in for the second teleport, and they're actually going to not quite close out the game here, as I don't think. No, they'll get it. They'll get it. GG and Voyboy closing out the game with those teleports and the immense backdoor strategy from CLG. That game was hilarious. The ending to that game was ridiculous. Oh man. And you can see Ocelote there is just crushed, as they left one person behind to defend and weren't quite able to knock down the 3 teleports fast enough to prevent them from just closing out the game. Alright, well, that was a pretty funny game. I understand why people said it was an epic one. I thought that CLG had that even if they didn't go for the sort of desperate base race strategy. But instead they just went for the teleport win strategy. They decided that they had it, and they did in fact have it, even though Doublelift got burst down almost instantly as soon as Kevin got in there. It was just half a second too late, and GG's AP damage was enough to knock down the Nexus, as he wasn't able to be CC'd fast enough. And so we will end this game with an angry face from Ocelote here, and I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I definitely enjoyed casting this game. So far this tournament has wildly exceeded expectations. I actually was disappointed by a couple of the regional tournaments, which I felt were sort of slow-ass farm fests, whereas the World Championship so far has featured very aggressive play, very interesting strategies. I love promote, although we didn't get to see it showcased much. I love teleports, and I really enjoyed what CLG did here. And we'll see if they advance from this group stage onto the semifinals, onto the quarterfinals rather. It looks like SK's hopes have unfortunately been crushed for this tournament. So well played by CLG North America, well played by SK also, with some really fantastic plays, especially very solid play by Kevin in the top lane. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary. If you did, please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe to my channel. I will be continuing to bring you League of Legends World Championship content, hopefully every day this week. If not, then certainly close to, as I'm so far immensely enjoying casting these games, and I hope you're enjoying listening to them. Also, if you haven't heard, I am now live streaming on twitch.tv/Itaran, and you can come check that out frequently. There's a lot of content up there already, and there will be continuing to be more as I stream it. So yeah, go check that out, and cheers folks, GG.